Got a story I want to share with you guys, and this happened right before we came on air. I had somebody call in, a potential client, and turned into a client. Hopefully, think that's the way it's going to go. But I want to share the story with you, and it was pretty interesting. And he called in. And he says, "Hey, just wanted to see if you guys treat lawns and blah 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 blah." Went through that. Yes, we do. And how can we help you? And one of the things we always ask somebody is, why are you changing? Why are you changing? That's not the first thing we ask, but it's part of how we qualify somebody on the phone, before we get into pricing and service and things like that. Because, sometimes they'll just flat out tell you, well, they're doing a great job. I'm just trying to find somebody cheaper. Or you can find out if you can solve that problem for them that they've got. Is why we ask that question for you guys that are wondering why that even matters. But to his point, Mr. Grimes, the guy that had called in, he said, "Hey, I had True Green, and this is in no way intended to be a slam on True Green, because I know those guys listen to us too here on Turfside Radios. They're driving around doing their routes, but." He said, "I had True Green. My first application was $27. You know how they do that discount thing that they do, and that's cool. They know what works for them. I'm not going to question their business model." But he said after that it was supposed to be like $43.25, and he started volunteering all this. After I was trying to figure out, hey, why are you changing? And he says because we never ask what somebody's paying. That's just not our motto. I mean, we don't care if you're paying $1 or $1 million. We're going to price the job based on what we know we need to have for it. But he started telling me this, and he said, and the problem I had at the end of the month, I had a $127 charge on my credit card. And he said, so I called him up, and I just simply asked, hey, my first app was supposed to be 27 and 43 something, some change, moving forward. He said, but there was a $127 charge on my debit card. And he said, the person said, well, no, we didn't charge you that. He said, I'm looking right at it on my debit card. That's what you guys took out of my account. And he said, we just need to get it fixed, basically. He just wanted them to get it right for him. And the guy insisted that they didn't have a $127 charge. And but they did. That's at the end of the day. That's they did. And my point of telling you that story is this: somebody on that end, and none of us are perfect, right? I mean, we're not perfect here at WLS. We screw up. We make posting errors. This guy thinks what happened is when they came out to make his ongoing application after that first one, it was a different applicator. They sprayed the wrong yard, and their applicator let them know that, hey, the square footage not matching up. Here's the square footage, and they adjusted the pricing. Okay, because that's one thing we have ours do is look at that, and if something if it doesn't look right, they let us know it doesn't look right. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes. So to his point is, I think they sprayed the wrong yard, but they didn't want to hear any of that. The flag was in the wrong yard and the whole deal. So it all boils down to this: a little bit of customer service would have went a long way. That's all it amounts to. A little bit of customer service would have went a long way on the guy's end or the lady's end, whoever he talked to at True Green. Just by simply saying, hey, let me check into this and get back with you. And I share that with you because when you're not 100% sure on something, you're going to be much more respected, and it's going to create a much better relationship if you don't know the right answer to something, rather than just trying to get somebody off the phone like this guy felt that this guy, the rep was doing with him. Because now they've lost that customer forever over something that could have been very simply done, if that makes sense. Hey, let me check into it. Because obviously, if the guy's charge went through for $127, like he says it did, there was something the person wasn't seeing on their screen. And like I said, it may have been a posting error, could have been anything. But take the time to just let the customer know, let me take a look at it. And I'll call you right back if you're not sure. Because they meaning you, meaning me, that's a good point right there too. We'll talk about that here in a minute. The reality of it is we're all going to make mistakes. And maybe we can give the right answer pretty quickly, but when we can't, let's don't guess. Because what we need to do, when I say we, what you need to do, what I need to do, and what any business owner or manager needs to do is try to make sure that we're all giving out the same information within our company. Because there's nothing worse than two different answers from the same company with anybody or anybody. It's a good learning lesson. For us, it turned into a new client. But on the other side, it could be one of our clients that had the same experience that Mr. Grimes had and fired us and moved on to somebody else. And I'm sure that's happened to us before. So take the time to understand that, hey, if you're not 100% sure about your answer, give your customer the opportunity to get the right answer by saying, hey, I'm not sure. Let me check on it. Let me give you a call back. Let me follow up. Because what you really got to look at is what's the lifespan of your customers? And what I mean that, not their physical lifespan on earth, but, what's the average lifespan of a fertilization and weed control customer? How long does your average customer stay with you? Is it 5 years? Is it 7 years? Is it 12 years? Is it 20 years? Because when you lose a customer, that's what you're losing. That's what you're losing. So to take a few extra minutes and get it done right the first time for somebody, even though that may mean a phone call back, that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it. Take the time to do it right. Take the time to do it right the first time. And when you do that, you're going to be a lot happier. Your customers are going to be a lot happier. Your retention rate's going to be better. And it's all going down the way it needs to go down. Not that any of us are perfect. None of us are walking on water. But guess what we can do? We can strive for excellence. And that's what we need to do, because excellence is achievable.